Come on, Paul. You can do it.
Hey, folks. Sorry about that. I have no idea what just happened.
Oh, man. You know what? Fujifilm was listening to you, and they were like, no, you're going to pay this subscription
Give
fee.
me my Natura, darn it.
Exactly. All right. All right.
You guys are listening. Give me that Natura.
You ready to talk about this lens, man?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Let's see if the XT4 will focus. Here it is.
What? It did it?
Did it focus?
It did.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna do one of these shots since I started doing this with the I started doing like this pose with the lens with the 135 G Master, and then everyone in the industry started copying us. But anyways, so for a long time, if you're a Fuji X mount shooter, for like a wide to medium telephoto zoom, you really only have two options. You had the 16 to 55 f2.8, which was weather resistant, but it did not have optical image stabilization. And you also have the 18 to 55. Now that one did have optical image stabilization, but it didn't have a constant maximum aperture, so it was a variable from f2.8 to f4. Those were the only two options until now, when Fuji finally released the 16 to 80 f4 R WR OIS. Now, for you guys that aren't familiar with what all the different letters means, anytime a lens that has R on it, it means it has a dedicated aperture ring, and then WR stands for weather resistance, OIS obviously optical image stabilization. So this lens has everything. What you are sacrificing is the maximum constant aperture is only f4, but from our tests, it performs very well even in low light. And we finally have a lens that's pretty compact. So this is it without the lens hood, and here it is with the lens hood on. Okay, it's still pretty compact. It weighs in at just under a pound, so it's not going to feel front heavy at all when mounted onto an X mount camera.
Hey, Paul, can we get a little bit scale? Can you bring it like right next to your beard?
Oh, God.
To see?
Okay.
All right. All right. So it's like 4 inches.
Here it is, and then here's a Litra, which is about the size of a GoPro.
Okay.
So it's a little bit bigger. It's like about like a cup of coffee if you go to like a diner, right? So yeah, it's covering a pretty huge zoom range. It's practically like a 24 to 105 in full frame speed, except it's 24 to 120. So while testing this lens, I found that focal range to be very useful. And I'm typically a prime guy, but it really allowed me to get a little bit lazier, if you will, and just I could punch in without having to like walk all the way down to a subject, and the image quality is pretty darn good. Did you want to pull up some of the images, Chris, from the review?
I don't even have those ready right now. I don't think I do.
But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any questions about this lens or?
Yeah. So you tested it mostly with the XT4, right?
I did.
The image stabilization together worked pretty well then.
Oh,
right?
it worked phenomenally well. Anyone that knows me knows that I am a caffeine addict, and that means that I don't have the steadiest hands. But using this lens combined with the XT4, you're getting essentially 6.5 stops of stabilization. I was able to shoot at like a fifth of a second, sometimes even slower than that.
Hey, Paul, you know what I do have? I do have like pre-production images from when I was shooting with it. I think I'll bring those up and put those on the screen while you're talking.
They should be in the review already, or it's not up
yet. It is up. It's just what's on my computer. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll bring up these images.
Yeah, but yeah, it's this guy's sharp. All right. If you're shooting architecture, it's great. Even like I did some portraits with it. it's you're not obviously going to get the same quality of bokeh as like an f1.2 or f1.4 lens. That's just the way physics works. But the bokeh quality is still pretty good. You're absolutely able to separate your subjects from their foreground and background. Obviously, I would for like portrait stuff, I would shoot on the longer end of things. Just so that you're working with the distance between your subject and the surroundings.
Can you guys see this? This is you, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
see
I
it.
remember this.
Yeah. So I purposely shot these in Acros. I'm shooting with a pre-production version, but it's very close to the final.
Oh, I think I shot some of these too when you were getting the gear type taken of you.
Yeah.
Or tinted together.
The bokeh on it, oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was slimmer back then or like it makes you look really slim.
I think I was shooting on the longer end too.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a fun afternoon. Got
I'm
a
trying
little
to-
wet.
I'm trying to remember how much pizza I had before. And I can't really remember.
Nah, we didn't. We had food afterwards.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Shooting with Acros with this thing actually looks really nice.
Gorgeous.
Wow, that's let's see if I can zoom in there.
I think Jeanette just walked by and he's, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, probably. Oh.
That was Erica.
Yeah, there you go. The bokeh on this isn't bad.
No, it's pretty good for an F4, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks nice to me.
Yeah,
And it's
I actually
weather
this it's what this guy's great. Yeah, it's like I think this is for a lot of people if you're just getting into the X mount system, this would be a perfectly suitable like walk around lens. It's just under a pound. Doesn't feel front heavy at all. Although it may if you're using like an XT30, but that's just because of how tiny that body is. But on an XT body or like an XH body, or even on an X Pro, it would be fine. Although I think X Pro shooters would probably gravitate to what primes anyway.
I was gonna say that I own an X Pro, so
Yeah. So, but the option's there if you want to like invest in a solid all around zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And there's a weather sealing on this thing.
Yep. Yeah,
Fantastic.
it is a phenomenal lens.
Yeah. How was the autofocus for you? I mean, it's a slower lens, but I can imagine it's still pretty
Honestly,
good.
for the most part, it worked great, even in low light. Nothing to complain about. But granted, I was testing it with the XT4, so if you're using an older body, it may not perform as fast. But yeah, honestly, I don't have much negative to say about this lens.
Okay. Let's see if we have any questions from Facebook.
How was it in terms of like
Nope.
aberrations and vignetting?
Honestly, not a lot. So they did a really good job in controlling chromatic aberrations. They have a XD element and 3 spherical elements in there, and just a combination of that it eliminates a lot of like anomalies that you would normally find. So there wasn't anything like jarring or like distracting, if you will, in the images. Like obviously, if you're shooting directly into the sun, regardless of what lens you're using, you're still going to see some flaring.
Right.
But I've always been to believe that you use that as a creative effect, anyways. It lends an organic nature to your images. When you're shooting into the sun. So. And the colors, boy, the color rendition of this thing is great. Yeah, like, but that's always been one of the benefits of Fuji. You don't really have to do much with the images, especially if you're picking, like, if you're already picking a film simulation that you liked from the get-go. You could, like, this could be like a JPEG lens.
Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Yep.
like a lot of the images that I use on the review, I didn't really like do much in terms of post processing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What are we looking at in terms of pricing on this thing?
What's that?
What are we looking like in terms of pricing on the lens?
This I believe. Let me double check.
It was under 1,000 if I remember.
Yeah, I think it's
correctly.
like just under 800 if I remember correctly.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's
pair
pretty good.
this with pair this with an XT3 and what? You just under $2,000.
Yeah.
Fujifilm 18 to 16 millimeter 60.
Yeah,
Why does Amazon not have it?
they do. It's the first. It's like the first link. They're being a little funky.
No, I wasn't. Wait. Let me look at somewhere else. It's 1680 millimeter.
I just sent you the link.
It's $7.99.
Yep.
Actually, some places have it for like $6.79.
Yeah,
That's
it
a great
really
price.
depends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
so
great
I
price.
mean, you know, like some people, they're gonna obviously get hung up on the fact that it's only an f4, you know. But honestly, like if you know the difference between f4 and f2.8, and the fact that you could zoom essentially on full frame 24 to 120 millimeters, or 16 to 80 in this case, just because it's cropped. Knowing how to work with the focal length, you could still achieve perfectly acceptable results.
I also think that, because of the depth of field, like you're going to get the depth of field of like 5.6. And either way, I'd be okay with that because it just means I don't have to stop the lens down.
Yeah, right. Also, yeah, exactly. And, you don't have to also worry that, one eye's in focus and the other isn't, if you're shooting portraits. Yeah, it's honestly, it's a pretty good lens. Like if I wasn't such a fan of primes, I would probably pick this up for myself.
I think it's a great photojournalism lens. Like you
Yeah.
put a flash on that thing on the camera, and then you just walk around and you shoot. Like
it's funny you mentioned like for photojournalism. So I actually, for the review, I actually photographed a number of the Black Lives Matters protests using it, and it's obviously I could, if I was close, I could kind of get the whole scene, or I could punch in and just hone in on certain details that I wanted to capture. So it's very versatile.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
I'm trying to think about any other
you want
questions
to put some of the photos up real quick from the site?
I guess I might as well.
I dropped the link for you.
Yeah, I saw that. So I will share my screen. Share screen with this. Share. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's go to image quality. There's the bokeh.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
You're so nice. I would be
to
the guy that's like, yeah, I know, I shot it. I know it looks great.
No, but like I would argue if you just showed that to someone, they're not going to know if it was f4 or like even shallower.
I completely agree with you, especially
Like,
with this one.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, this was like I think super early days during like COVID-19.
So of course,
Yeah.
I mean, what else is going to help with that is minimum focal distance as well. So I mean, if it's
Yeah, it does focus pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't remember offhand, but I could get up real close to my subject.
Let's see if it says in the tech specs. Minimum focusing, max magnification. We don't have it in the tech specs now.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah. So let's see. Your cons of this. You would have like a constant aperture of f2.8. You wanted a better manual focus ring.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit looser compared to the the focal range ring.
Yeah.
Normally, I would prefer that to be reversed. Like I want less resistance when adjusting my focal length, and more resistance when I'm dialing in my manual focusing for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the way that Fujifilm does things, though, too, they probably would have like taken the focusing ring and made it so you pull it back a bit to focus.
Oh, like a
Manual focus.
clutch?
Yeah, the way they do with some of their primes.
Well, the thing is, given how small the lens is, so let me just show you guys. This top ring right here, this is the manual focusing ring, and then this is the focus range adjusting ring, and then this is the aperture ring. There's not much room for you to actually pull this back. So they would actually have to make all three rings about the same width, which for tactile purposes would probably be an issue. If the last thing you want is three rings to have the same exact like width.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I mean I understand why they didn't put a clutch there, but I just wish that they reversed the like the resistance when you're turning it. And that goes for most manufacturers, to be honest. Like never have a manual focus ring that turns like with less resistance than the actual focus ring. That makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also for the video shooters out there, there's no way to declick the aperture ring, but it's not a super loud click, you know. But just something to be mindful of. You know, if that's going to bother you for your workflow.
Fujifilm video, like Acros video, looks so gorgeous.
Acros video or even Eterna.
Yeah.
And the new bleach bypass too. Pretty.
I think I'm the only one that could never really get into Eterna. Like I know so many people that love it, and I'm like, classic ROM, man.
A lot of people shoot Eterna and then they do their own grading on top of it. So it's kind of almost like Fujilog, if you will.
Yeah, but they do that for stills. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'd rather just get it in camera. Like, give me, like, Provia or something like that, and I'll just go.
Well, Provia, actually, it's the standard. Provia,
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they say they don't use a film simulation. Well, you technically are using a film sim. Provia is the standard color profile you get in all Fuji cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I really like? Give me that Natura Fuji. But yeah, unless there are any questions, that's about all I have to say about this guy.
All right.
Yeah, get this lens, folks.
Nice. Yeah, let's thank you first off. I was gonna say 10 out of 10, but I know that's not your rating. I think you rated like a 5 or something like that.
It was either a 4 or 5. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very highly rated either way.